They like listening to us discuss banh mi.
Banh mi, amazing. I'm having that tomorrow. I haven't had one in a while.
I'm gonna have my same sandwich that I always have because that's It is 9:30 on a Thursday night, and you're tuned in to Beltway Radio and Beyond, which can mean one and only thing. Ding, 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 ding. I don't have the bell.
Where the hell's the bell?
I'll have to explain about that, but yeah, no bell. I don't have the bell. I'll find the bell.
No bell. No fucking bell. Crazy.
No bell.
Been gone all this time. When we come back, sans bell.
Yeah, well, so my mother-in-law got injured, and we had to give her the bell as a means of summoning us. There you go.
Wait, hold on. All right. That's fine. I don't remember which bell it was, and there's one bell that I'm hoping. So I'm assuming it's not. Do you have that bell, Brian?
I have that bell.
Okay, all right, everybody, it's okay. All right. And if
Bell to rule all the bells.
If you've been watching this for a long time, which I was kicking it with Drew Dave, a week ago actually, and he was so surprised. He was like, "You still do that show?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I've been." He's like, "How long has it been? Like 5 years?" And I was like, yeah, about that.
About
Yeah.
that.
Is it? Yeah, that's correct, right? I didn't. Yeah, in the moment, it felt longer, but that's correct, right?
I think you started in 21.
Yeah, 21. Yeah, because it definitely was after election, right? Yeah. Because because then I'm thinking of Afghanistan and that because that's this time in 2021 around here, August, end of August, right? Or do I have those dates?
Yeah,
it was in the summer. I think
it was summertime. That's for
summertime.
sure.
It was definitely summertime. I feel like it was end of August.
I think we had our first time together in studio in like July of that year.
That sounds right.
I think you started in maybe in March of that year. So there you go.
Yeah, crazy.
Hi, I'm Chip. Wow. Who are you, Tez?
you just told him.
Welcome to ChipChat.
Clearly, we've been off for too long, actually, and I never say that.
You never say that. Yeah, we were off for a couple weeks. We were on assignment, and we're back.
We're back.
But this is a special edition of ChipChat. In part because we have a guest this week from Huntington West by God,
what the
Virginia.
Flock?
Yeah, what the flock?
Us?
Yeah. So we do have a guest from West Virginia. Lenny is going to join us to talk about the Get the Flock Out of Huntington West by God, Virginia.
I just caught up on this.
Oh, you're late.
Yeah, it's insane. This
is very up Tez's alley. This should have been
this police chief and this mayor. Like I didn't like a lot of the things they were saying at all. Like, and there's one crucial plan with any of this stuff that and obviously we'll get to this, but there's one crucial plan that you should have that they were just like, boom. It was crazy. Yeah. This is insane. So I'm very excited to talk.
We're gonna find out about these flock cameras. You're gonna recognize them. You're gonna see them in your neighborhood if you haven't already, and they are diabolical. So we are definitely gonna talk about those. So yeah. Also, we've got voting in Virginia, which is going to be good. Voting rights in Virginia, I should say. Trump is attacking preschools now, and not just with bombs. He's figured out a new way to harm children.
Yeah.
which is
we don't attack preschoolers with bombs. That is, more of our foreign forays. We don't do that domestically. We have other ways to do that.
Yeah, we often like to attack them this way, but this is pretty impressive. I gotta say, in the like, it's up there with deciding to shoot puppies, but we already had that cabinet member, so I guess can't get much worse. And Waddle da. It's gonna be a lot of stuff. We're gonna have headlines. We're gonna have stories about Congress.
Brian has a story in here tonight, doesn't he?
Brian has a story about
look how far I read.
Earthquake victims, and then there's all the primary stuff that happened this week. So we're gonna talk about that. Right now, breaking news. The paper says, Marsha Blackburn. There it is. It is passed, or it's coming. It's breaking. Marsha Blackburn wins the GOP nomination for Tennessee governor. So we've watched her go from Tea Party congresswoman to senator to now Tennessee governor. Let's be honest, she's already won if she's a Republican nominee in Tennessee.
That cake is baked.
They don't let anybody else vote in Tennessee. So, and then apparently,
a town near you,
right? Yeah. So get ready for Jim Crow 2.0. Like all great things, it starts in Tennessee.
Yeah, great things in Tennessee.
The blues, rock and roll, and Jim Crow. All the things brought to us by Black folks in America.
Yeah, we brought the Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Take credit for that one. It's the one drop rule in massive reverse.
Yes,
Yeah. Speaking of which, Stephon Diggs is coming back home. So we'll talk about that probably a little bit too. It's gonna be a wild show. There's a lot going on. There's always a lot going on. We thought we took a break. No, we didn't take a break. Just more
the news just kept piling and piling and piling up. Now we're here to not really give you the news, but give you more opinions on ours.
This is not the news.
This is not the news. I was explaining that to someone. I was explaining that to Drew Dave. I was like, nah, we're not we are reading news stories that are the news, but we are really more just like gas bags around and giving our opinions on
gas bags.
I mean,
I'll take that over pundit any day.
Pundit is pretty pundit is terrible. Like,
that's a terrible name. Yeah. That's an epithet.
Yeah, exactly. We're not pundits at all. We're more gas bag feels appropriate.
Yeah. Time wasters. I don't know.
There's time wasters. Yes, we could easily be. This could easily be seen as a waste of time to somebody. It probably is to many folks.
Yeah, but to nearly dozens of people all over the world, this is at least valued time for whatever reason. So
that's who we do it for.
That's right. That's our core. It's what we get up every 2 weeks for.
Yeah.
It's about the frequency. I don't know. It's summertime. We don't care.
It's summertime. It's break time. Yeah. We'll be
all right. We're gonna take a break.
Just started. Yeah.
We're ready. So yeah, that's all what's gonna happen. All right, you got your word.
Got my word. We're already over time. What should my word be? Yes, I have a word.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That did not be what people are listening to.
That's the real one right there.
It's terrible. People's ears are listening to this.
Nah, they're not listening. All right. Sit back, grab some
privacy.
It's bell time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
There you go.
Perfect. Welcome back to Chip Chat, everybody. Bell, stall, bell.
Hey, welcome back to ChipChat. I'm Chip. I'm your host. Who's Tez? I don't know. Some guy.
There
How
we
you
go.
doing?
What's up? God,
I got the bell.
Oh, you went and got the bell. Okay, there we go. Our prop. You're very fast at doing that in between. This is like that was like the what do you call it? The hydration break during the World Cup. Like the shit has started and we're still in the fucking commercial. Like
we're
not
growing the game.
Growing the game. Yep.
We are as popular on radio as Infantino is in soccer.
Somebody's gonna lose their job.
Yeah. So okay. Want to do some headlines?
Yeah, sure. Yes, not really. Let's do it. Not good.
No.
I read through these.
Well, you read some? Good.
I did, yeah.
Okay. Well, tradition dictates that you get to go first. So let's stick to tradition.
Here we go. Let's stick to tradition. The attending doctors in the Senate made news this week when they announced that Mitch McConnell is still dead. Not true.
Also breaking tonight is that he's apparently not.
Exactly. It's not true.
Released from rehab.
He's out.
Hey, we've all seen Weekend at Bernie's. All right.
Mitch McConnell.
It didn't come through very well. We'll have to
It's
replay
all right.
that.
Whatever. That's
Hang on. We'll do it. We'll get a chance. All right. So speaking of the Senate, Todd Blanche spent the week learning how to lie in written form.
Learning.
Yes.
The Senate has several items on their agenda, like funding the government, confirmations, and of course, the early bird special at Denny's.
Yes. The average age in the Senate is 96. At Camp David this week, Trump accidentally read a newspaper and found out that there was a munition shortage in his Iran war. That's it. That's it. That's the story.
It's just it.
Yep.
Angry about the shortages, Trump questioned Pete Hegseth, who had to interrupt his testosterone therapy just as he was about to feel like a real man.
Yes. Yep. In a fiery response, Secretary Kegstan relented that not only was the military running out of ammo, but that he too had been shooting blanks for years. I don't know, Ted. You take testosterone?
No.
No.
Take testosterone. That seems kind of crazy.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, shouldn't.
Did you ever feel the need to like?
No.
That is artificially.
Artificial. Yeah, that doesn't feel.
To being a man.
I didn't see that coming. But neither could they.
It's a different way to get your testosterone.
Different way.
Okay.
Speaking of okay, RFK Jr. quickly offered to count the remaining sperm, but was distracted when Jimothy the raccoon ran by.
That's true. In music, Ariana Grande released a new video causing everyone to comment on how she used to be venti. That's a coffee joke. That is Grande, venti, she's too skinny, something. Our writers suck.
Yeah, pretty bad. Colorado's on fire.
Yep.
Or as Brian calls it, Bobert season.
That's true. Calm down, Brian. Back in D.C., Jeanine Pirro dropped her case against the, quote, vandals that attacked the reflecting pool when it turned out that she would have to present actual evidence.
Vandals is now who Chip blames when he doesn't finish a project at work. In fact, the vandals are in the room right now.
Yes. Try it out. It works really good, right? So
just
somebody's like,
the vandals.
How come you didn't get this done? You're like, it was the vandals. I did it. And then they came and cut a 350-foot gash in all the work I did. And then they're going to be like, what are you talking about? And you're going to be like, it was the vandals. Prove it wasn't.
This is going to turn into something. Not now. I don't know when, but vandals is going to become something, and it's going to be a term used as they try to round up these vandals. And when they label you a vandal, then you're just,
Oh, you think that they're going to use it like in actuality?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this word. The way this, I don't know. This feels like it go down a terrible path.
It's
like
also a bit of appropriation because the Vandals were an actual group of people who were doing things to the Romans, and the Romans didn't like it, and they were like,
so
"Oh, those goddamn Vandals," And then they're like,
point.
"Let's turn that into a verb."
Right, and look, you learn something new every day on here. That's a good point. I didn't even put that together.
They're an ethnic group. This is appropriation. No wonder Trump likes it.
It's crazy. That's insane. Okay,
but they're white. I thought he would like the Vandals. Maybe he's more of a Visigoth kind of guy.
We each have our favorites.
There you go. All right, let's see where are we at here? Oh, the National Guard. Yeah. The National Guard deployed here to D.C. has already cost American taxpayers $1.4 billion, which could have bought like 6 bombs to drop in Iran.
Yeah. Yeah. They come out of very nice hotels. I see them on a daily basis.
I see them every morning coming out of what was the Trump Hotel in the old post office building on their charter buses when I'm coming up 14th. And then they have their little buses that take them to their spots where they then go on their walks. So the little bus pulls up with like 20 of them, right?
Yeah.
And they all hop out in groups of 4. And then they go on a lovely stroll around like the cool parts of DC.
This is crazy.
And then they do nothing. They just
nothing.
Yeah. Somebody I know was like, "Oh, this is how much we're paying for them to walk around and pick up trash." I'm like, they're not picking up trash.
They haven't picked up trash in months.
No.
That was like the first 2 weeks, I feel like.
Yeah.
We're going on a year of this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like the
haven't
first
picked up trash since the beginning. They literally, like where I work and where I'm around up in Shaw, there's often roving bands of these guys, and they are doing nothing. They just walk around, and then
I got them doing something. Hold on a second. I got them doing something. Hold on.
Oh,
so,
Brian,
don't disrespect the troops.
So I saw them doing this.
Oh, there you go. Yes,
that's not disrespectful.
That's
is that AI?
It is AI.
Okay, get this out of here.
Yeah, they're playing a video game called Epic Furious.
I was looking at this. I was like, hold on, what? That's not real.
That's not.
I did see them playing chess with the elderly in Southwest.
Okay, that's worth at least.
I feel like we could take the same amount of money though and actually put that to other programs to give other people jobs that could go play chess with the elderly. Because I'm pro chess with like.
I'm pro chess in general, but yeah. The elderly in particular.
Exactly. I was like, hold on.
If you couldn't tell from looking at me, I'm pro chess.
Yeah. But see, like Brian could be thinking like pro chess is like with the T at the end and the chess.
I'm supportive of that too.
That's exactly
supportive.
But yes, that I'm good with that. I just think we could do it a different way, and that seems like we could create jobs that way. I don't know.
$1.4 billion could pay for a lot of Head Start teachers.
A lot. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Moving along.
Okay, where are we at?
Right. Ohio Congressman Max Miller, who is accused of child abuse and domestic violence, went on CNN to sigh at and argue with Jake Tapper.
That's true. If you want to watch an example of how to not try to save your career, go watch that 25-minute interview. It was a train wreck. Doesn't even begin to describe it. And he's from Ohio, where they're used to train wrecks. All right. Let's see. Miller said that his daughter told him that she was afraid to go to mommy's house. Tapper asked Miller about the kid saying that she was afraid of him, right? He's like, yeah, we've heard that she's afraid. She tells everybody, I don't want to go to daddy's house. And Miller was like, she's only 2. She couldn't possibly put a sentence together. And that is why the Ellisons want to buy and kill CNN.
Oh, okay. Like, come on, man. Every whoever says they know they don't want to go kick it with mommy, I don't even believe that. It's a lie.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
everybody likes dad better because dad lets you do stuff that mommy doesn't let you do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that can go either way. This doesn't. Obviously, he's lying, allegedly. Miller said he was going to stay in his re-election race because he was just like Trump. Yeah. And then proceeded to reach for Dana Bash's cat. Oh God! Oh my God! This is what I wish I thought I timed this to get the baseball. Just damn it!
And finally, in sports, baseball hit the trading deadline, which means congratulations to the Dodgers for causing next year's lockout/strike.
We just gotta keep our fingers crossed for Brewers Rays. Brewers, Rays, maybe. We still get the lockout, but I don't think it goes as long as it's possible to go. Brewers, Rays is like, hey, look.
They can be like, hey, a small market team can compete.
Look, compete. That's what we need. Fingers crossed. That's what I want.
Not going to happen.
All right. You never know. Baseball's weird.
It is possible. Milwaukee looks really good. I'm not.
Yes. Exactly. Fingers crossed, everybody.
All right. Here's what we're going to do.
Trash cans.
Go trash.
Start banging the start. Like, we need to figure this out. No cap.
No pro Astros discussions here, sir.
No. I'm just saying.
Cheating in baseball is the most reprehensible thing you can do. It's up there with bombing schools. Like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Save the sport.
Saving the sport.
It saved the sport out of the strike. It saved it.
Stop it.
It did. No one wants to hear that. No,
I don't want to hear any of that.
Hear it. That's a whole different show. You know what? Bring that up for No Filter Sports. Like, we need to do a deep dive on that.
You're gonna leave me out here defending integrity in baseball?
I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna defend it with you, but I will agree that cheating scandal saved the sport. A lot of eyes went on it.
Okay, fine. No, that's a setup. I'm not doing that shit. There's no way I come out of that looking good.
No way.
Hate you. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk to our guest. That's what we're gonna do.
This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweet.
Before you hit that door, baby, you better check that curl. Cleavon told me so. Alarm clock ringing, sunlight on my face. Can't step outside with the curl out of place. Mirror say, player, better tighten that loop. A dry ass curl, brother, that ain't the move. I need that drip, I need that shine to behave. Need my curl looking slick as Rick James. From the roots to the tips, let it flow like truth. Ain't nothing popping till I grab the juice. Oh, African berries, juice is so pure, curl so full, yeah, it's blessed for sure. Prince Hakeem dreams in every strand, but without them chemicals messing up my hands. Get the juice, get it, to keep your curl loose. Strip so clean, shine so smooth, one splash hit and you know the truth. Get the juice, to keep your curl loose. From the crown to the roots, ain't no curl curling without the juice. Keep your curl the juice. Yeah. Don't mess up my headrest, man. Just shine, luster, and drip, and drip, and drip. Oh, get the juice. Get it. To keep your curl loose. Let it sway, let it shine. That curl pattern working overtime. Get the juice. To keep your curl loose. If your mirror smile back, yeah, you already know the truth. Keep it for the juice. The juice. Keep it close. Stay ready. Stay ready. Keep it close. Stay ready. Loose curls and drip only, baby.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez, theoretically. Oh, Lord.
Hold on. There's a message from Mr. Green. Miss Green.
Oh,
Hold on a
no.
second. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Hold on a second.
What is going on?
Yes.
Hold
I
on.
am now on Cameo. So if you have a special message for a friend or a loved one, I would love to deliver it for you, or any other message for anyone. How do you do it, you ask? You just click on the link and follow the instructions, and we'll be on our way. Hi, everyone. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. And
Okay,
All right,
good.
so
Good.
yeah, it's only like $190. So how many people think we should get MTG to record us our next bump? Tez.
I 100. She denies our request because we're gonna ask
There's no
something
way.
fucking crazy that we
No,
because
she doesn't know who we are.
You're gonna ask something crazy. The way whatever you write out, she will deny.
First of
know.
all,
What are you gonna say?
happy Chinooka to you.
Oh God.
And second of all, no, she needs the dollars. So she'll do it. And she doesn't know. I could put anything in there that's like innocuous,
Okay.
relatively. She wouldn't know.
Okay.
Look, my sincere hope is that we call MTG for the cameo and she checks us out and goes, you know what? These guys are really kind of interesting. I want to come on and do the show for free. And, you know, and then I'll tell her no. But
You're not gonna tell her no. You're gonna bring
no, I'm not going to tell her no.
Exactly. You're sitting down. What type of more fake ass morality are you about to put out here right now that you were about to tell her no? There's no way you would say no.
No, I want her on the show.
Then we would, yeah, exactly. We would do that show, which would be insane.
Because you know what they say, smooth, easy conversations with absolutely no controversy is great for radio.
No, yep, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Great.
If you listen to sports talk radio, which is like a dominant form of radio, it's mostly people agreeing with each other. In fact, they call in to agree with each other.
Mm-hmm. It's them and the South Florida radio.
Ha! That's a whole nother thing.
The other one that is not governed by anything. That is
the lawless world of Spanish language talk radio.
Lawless land.
Speaking of lawless lands, let's go to West by God, Virginia. Lenny is working with a group called Get the Flock Out of Huntington, West by God, and these flock cameras are all over the damn place, and their numbers are growing by the day, and this group is working to get rid of them, and now we get to talk to Lenny about this. So welcome to Chip Chat.
Hello. Let me
Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be out here. So
okay, so you're in West Virginia right now, right?
So this is Huntington, West Virginia. So if you're familiar with Marshall, if you know where Marshall University is, that's Huntington, West Virginia. If you're not familiar with Marshall University, the state map there, I love it. It's right about where Ohio and Kentucky and West Virginia all meet up there. I'm about a 5-minute drive to Ohio and about a 15-minute drive to Kentucky from here.
We're very sorry for you.
I hate being the. I mean, the only places I've ever lived in my life are West Virginia and Michigan. So to be this close to Ohio is kind of you deal with it.
He just perked up. You got him excited.
Yeah. But I popped on the porch to specifically have the Verner sign on behind me. So heck yeah. It's a city of about 45,000, which is not a lot, but because West Virginia is rural as hell, it's the second largest city in the state. So, and like there's a metro of about, we're about like 350,000 people in the surrounding area. And then we're just down the road from Charleston. It's another like 300,000. So again, this is as urban as West Virginia gets, but that's not saying much.
Well, it's at least 3 Wyoming. So that's a good start.
Yes.
Nobody cares about square states. All right. So tell us basically what flock cameras are in the first place. And why folks should be afraid of them.
Okay, so Flock is a particular provider of what is it called, the automated license plate reader cameras. And what it is it's a it does what it sounds like. It is a camera that it takes pictures of whatever area that it's surveying, and it will scan the license plate on your car. And the thought is that this will make it easier to if someone's got like say a stolen car or something, then we can track that plate and whatever abouts. But of course the downside of that is you're feeding license plates into a database and passing it along to however abouts. And Flock is a particularly bad actor in this realm. They have ICE contracts. Their systems have been rampant with abuse, with errors, and it's. I feel like it's fairly. They've kind of come into a lot more scrutiny here recently. I feel like, and it's funny when the word got out that Huntington was taking this up. The day after I heard about it, I'd read this story about an automotive writer who had been, and this is stuck in my brain. This is like drilled in there. It was an automotive writer up in Minnesota who had been lended out a Range Rover by the manufacturer because he's an automotive writer.
Sure.
And he drove it to Kohl's, and he's backing out of the parking lot, and he's suddenly surrounded by cops. Lights flashing, guns out, because the Flock system had tagged his car as stolen from California. And what turns out they did some digging around. And what turns out was that it very much was not a stolen car. The license plate had been a digit off of the plate that had been noted. But it was a digit off in such a way, it was like a special manufacturer plate, so it read it funny. And so every car with that combination of letters and numbers was being tracked nationwide. And on top of that, to add insult to injury, so first off, the manufacturer has to notify everybody with this plate combination, hey, look out. But then turns out the initial offender wasn't even stolen. It was a lost plate. It was reported as lost, and it was fed into the system as stolen instead. So
these cameras, just to catch everybody up, also like on the details, they're not necessarily all installed by municipalities.
No, and that's there. It's because and I will say Ashland, Kentucky, it's about 20 minutes up the road. The municipality has installed them. Morgantown, West Virginia, they've got them up there. But then Lowe's has a contract. So you can go out to the mall, and Lowe's has one sticking right up there in the parking lot. And there's other ALPR cameras through other firms in the area that have them set up. The Speedway gas stations in town have them. The Krogers have them set up there. But what happened with Flock in Huntington is, again, this was apparently like this was kind of snuck in under completely underneath everybody's noses, but they'd been working on it behind the scenes for months, and then finally got it into a council committee meeting in late June, and it was taken up in wound up being mid-July. As a resolution, not like if it's an ordinance, then you have to have your first reading and your second reading, but it was a resolution to approve the contract. They had already written the contract up, and it was just the one meeting to approve the contract. Like the city literal, like the population had like a week's notice, not even.
And this is a contract for the municipality itself to install them?
Yes. This was a $2.1 million contract over 4 years for flock safety cameras, plus another, I think, $70,000 for 2 years of tech support.
And how many bus drivers could $2.1 million support for the school bus?
That's been the soapbox I've been on ever since. In fact, I'm somewhat infamous for lobbying here and there to get another ice rink built in this city, because we haven't had one in 20 years. And I almost weaponized that and got talked off of that ledge. But the point being, but also then another one that just came up here in the last few days, to show the kind of skewed priorities that city administration has shown here since this administration took office. At the beginning of the year, there was a fight with the city over when they put the budget out, how much they were allocating to the animal shelter. It had been $400,000 and they cut it down to $200,000. They said, well, there was a grant funding this much, so we can't, and they wound up haggling it up to $250,000. That's still $150,000 shortfall relative to what they'd been supporting or supplying. And now in the last week or so, the animal shelter has been posting on social media that they are in a crisis mode right now, and they've been a no-kill shelter for many years, and they may have to go back to euthanizing animals. So that's $150,000 that this city couldn't conjure up, but they can drop $2 million on a surveillance system that literally nobody wants. And that's kind of where it was starting to get to, was and again, this administration, the city administration, the last year and a half has been fairly antagonistic in terms of relative to what people, what the rest of the populace wants as far as services and priorities and such. And the multiple times we have had to packed the city council chamber to overflowing. And this was for Flock, this was the biggest crowd that we've had yet.
It was all 25 of you or something, right?
It was 50 some people.
Again, a city of only 45,000 people, 50 people showing up for a meeting is a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that, because you said you had a week to right. There was you mentioned there's a week almost to I guess
not
speak out
even
about
really.
this. Not even.
Yeah, I think the word got out. Word got out like Wednesday, Thursday about, and the city council meeting was the following Monday.
And
have you mobilized that way before? Yeah, have you mobilized that fast for other issues with the specific administration, or is this are people new to this and be like, oh God, this is my first time kind of doing something like this?
So this community kind of got and I say with this community, I'm not as active a member of this as a lot of people are. I've got 3 jobs and a kid in band camp. So, but a couple in 2024. In 2024, the school board, the Cabell County School Board, and had when they put their budget forward, they took a massive chunk out of the funding that they usually provide to the park district and to the county libraries, and there was a massive campaign to reject the levy went up in the primary, and the campaign was to reject that levy to force them back to the negotiating table to restore the funding in time to get it on the ballot for the general election. And it was incredibly successful. And it's so successful, in fact, that the superintendent resigned. It's also resulted in the election of a couple of school board members who were more favorable to keeping the funding for parks and libraries where it was, and so that wound up kind of being I don't think anyone expected it to be a dry run for the next couple of years, but that's what wound up happening. Is we wound up it was a mayoral election in Huntington that year, and the old mayor had been termed out, and so the new mayor has been very very guarded in terms of what his intentions are when it comes to various things, and when the plans actually come out, it's not what anybody likes.
Does Huntington have a history of being a sort of an activist community?
Not really. That's the thing. It's not huge. I mean, there is a history, but it's not, I think, to the extent that it's been here. Like, I think we had a 3-term mayor here, Steve Williams, who, again, the one who's just termed out, but he like under his administration, I think there's really a kind of a culture of kind of cooperation, a culture of kind of building together that really built up. And we went from that to somebody who was very, just, trust me, bro, I know what I'm doing. With things. But I mean, again, he's been in office for about a year and a half, and in that stretch, he's talked about cutting library spending. There was a homeless day shelter that he basically made it sound like he was going to cut the funding for it entirely. No, he just wanted to reallocate the funding to a different, brand new shelter because they didn't want to work with the city mission. And then again, there was everything with the animal shelter. There was, I feel like there's one that, when the bus levy came up at the beginning of the year, they were going to allocate $1 million to essentially $1 million to bail out the movie theater at one of the bus system owns like a complex owns a complex downtown. And they were going to allocate $1 million to bail out the movie theater there, essentially. And so it's just been every few months, the city does something that just absolutely, brings everybody back out to yell at them. And this with the flock situation, it's the biggest response. It's been widely bipartisan. The wildest bit is very early on. One voice against it was Derek Evans, who, if that name doesn't ring a bell, he is a convicted January 6er. Who live streamed himself going into the Capitol, no less.
Nice.
So to have common cause with that, I don't want to live on this timeline, but I guess I'm here.
So I think that one of the things that specifically about operating a surveillance system in a place like West Virginia, which has an antipathy isn't exactly strong enough of a word, but outright hostility towards surveillance, government monitoring, any, the sort of, you're combining the traditions of wildcat strikes and coal miners and moonshiners and just a lot of like, leave us the hell alone kind of people. And then to put a surveillance system on top of that, it seems like you're asking for a fairly negative response. Was there any purpose? Like, was there anything that spurred them to do this? Had there been a series of stolen vehicles or like some event that they could have pointed to and said, oh, well, our best solution is to implement this surveillance? Or did Flock simply come to the city government and say, hey, want to give us $2 million?
There's a little bit of both, because Huntington is a small city, but we have had our issues with crime and drug crime over the years. I think it's still on Netflix. There's a documentary called Heroin. This is, of course, if you're familiar with how everything went with the opioids, Appalachia was ground zero, and Huntington in particular. There was actually a documentary crew following some of the responders to that in Huntington, and they happened to actually be on site when Huntington had, I think it was like 23 overdoses in the space of like a few hours. So that was sort of the excuse that they gave, was like, well, this will allow us to better get those scary people from Detroit. But also it seems
why are the scary people from Detroit?
Well, that's all. Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, like when you talk about like drug trafficking in Huntington, like Detroit and Columbus are kind of the two main cities that you hear stuff about because if you look on a map, it's a straight shot north.
They're the biggest. Okay, so that wasn't like a racist dog whistle. That was just like
it's both. It's both. It's both because it's functionally speaking, that is a thing that happens, but also it gets turned around into that. And I one of these days I'm going to get up there at the council dais and say, hey, I grew up in Oakland County for 16 years. Okay, don't talk about Detroit to me.
Yeah, don't talk about Detroit.
But
unless you're going to say it's great, in which case, then yeah, you can talk about Detroit.
Yeah. Detroit. For our readers out there, Beth Macy has a great book called Dope Sick around all of this. And yes, that is
I even know about that book.
Yeah,
that's how good a book
it is. It's really good. It's one of the sadder books I've ever read, but it's very illuminating to like those issues specifically.
So Lenny, what are they doing with libraries in West Virginia? I mean, who can use them?
Like as far as just generally speaking, or
like in West Virginia know how to read. What do they need a library for?
He attacks.
We got now you're talking to somebody who worked at the State Library Commission for 2 years.
Yeah,
has a lot of librarian friends.
Yeah, tell them to fuck off. That's what you should tell them.
We are busting our asses to make the populace as literate as possible. And this
I'm just teasing. All right. Let's get back onto the flock stuff. I can make fun of West Virginia all day long.
Yes. And I will battle you barb for barb. But let's go back.
There you go.
Well, we're safely here in regular Virginia. So let's. But anyway,
other Virginia,
not real Virginia, original Virginia, 1.0. Okay, so the flock cameras, like as a basic thing, as you kind of mentioned, that it's not just that they're taking pictures of the license plates, but they compile. They're part of this massive database, and that you might think, okay, well, they're just like filming. They're not really filming, right? They're more than that because they're driven by AI. They're using AI,
aren't they? Really, it's what they're ingesting.
Yeah,
data.
they're aggregating data. They're collecting this massive amount of data, but they're not. It'd be one thing if like everybody stopped on a particular line, waited for it to take a picture and all of that. It's not that at all. It's catching things as they're moving and stuff, and it's using AI to try to read the license plates, but it's not always accurate. And it also has some of these other problems where, and this is not necessarily that it's intended as malicious, but it's obvious that this is a problem that could happen, is that there's unauthorized access or backdoor access. So like a local police department may have access to this, but they may not have realized that they also agreed to share all their data with all of the other police departments that are accessing this database. And even in cities where there has been efforts to say, well, we don't want to share our data with, say, ICE or the feds or something else, because they're also sharing with some other locality, and that locality is sharing with ICE or the feds or whoever. Now their data is going through a backdoor and a backdoor and a backdoor and getting to them. So altogether, it's more than just local surveillance in parking lots. People might think, you see the cameras and you go, okay, they're using them for towing people for parking overnight or whatever. They're using them for basic store surveillance at Lowe's or whatever, but they're not that. Okay. And they're more than that. Flock isn't really interested in the parking lot at Lowe's. Flock is interested in compiling a database that they can then sell access to people who want to track something, anything, or to fabricate something, right? You could just as easily say, oh, well, I have a Flock access and we saw your car in this place, this place, and this place, even if you never were there, and they're going to fabricate the data and say, sure it is, here it is. and they've got this trustworthy source, trustworthy, heavy air quotes on the trustworthy.
Is it trustworthy in the courts? I don't know in the courts. If you bring this to me in the courts,
it's a little early. But anyway, here's what I'm getting at. A lot of these things, people are using them nefariously. I don't mean just like government's using them nefariously to like figure out who was at protests and go trample on our rights. We can talk about that next. But there are police officers or other people who have access to this system who are using them for things like stalking. Mm-hmm. And I think that's actually, it was a front page story in the Washington Post this week. It was a major story. I think it's a thing that every woman in this country, the second they found out about a flock camera, was like, oh shit. And all the men were like, what are you talking about? What's the big deal? Because they had never heard of the concept of being stalked like that. So that's all a thing. And the reporters in the Post story went and asked the CEO of Flock, like, hey, people are using this for stalking their girlfriends or whatever. What are you going to do about it? And his answer was essentially like, hey, people use things for bad stuff. What can I do? Nothing I can do about it. See you later. Bye. Yes, thoughts?
That was something that came up. Like if you, it's still up. I believe they keep the video up for 30 days at the Facebook page of the city of Huntington. I still don't understand why they only stream on Facebook, but whatever. But we went on, and the meeting went on until about 3:30 in the morning. That's how many people were stuck it out for that. But there was so much testimony after testimony. So many of the people brought up these kinds of abuses of officers being caught stalking their exes, stalking their exes new guys, monitoring unauthorized monitoring of like playgrounds and stuff. We're getting into kids stuff here that people are trying to get into through these cameras. And out again, it was the level of abuse the level of abuse that has been documented in this system is staggering. And like I said, I feel like there's been we're kind of in the middle of sort of an anti-flock wave at the start of it for this to happen. And it's kind of like since this got shoved through council in Huntington, I can say there's been a significant backlash in the state. It's kind of been a wake up call because simply because people were like, wait a second, what's going on here? What is this? And like literally the next day, one of the neighboring towns' mayor said, we are never installing this. County commission said we are against this. It's their legislators are ramping up, working on some kind of legislation to curb this technology. And the big thing that's going on right now is that, and it was actually the launch event was yesterday. There is a petition drive in the city of Huntington for an ordinance that would outlaw mass surveillance systems like Flock. And so we're shooting it's a target of 4,000 signatures. We don't need 4,000 signatures, but we want to make sure that we have like a nice cushion in case, people.
Because they'll challenge the shit, right?
Exactly.
Right. Challenge signatures. So how do people go to sign up for the petition? And what are the requirements to sign the petition?
Well, you've got to be a registered voter in the city of Huntington.
Okay.
Quite simply, you have to be a registered voter in the city of Huntington, West Virginia. It has to be, and we have to have paper petitions for this. This is old school petitioning. There's no change.org anything going on here. It has to be on paper, in ink,
legible.
Yep. And so it's a proper canvassing effort attached to this here to get 4,000.
Where can people go to sign the petition? Is there some sort of central office or somebody's, like you just got to wait for somebody to come knock on your door?
No, I think there's going to be door-to-door efforts. I think there's going to be like some central locations. I host a trivia night, actually, a couple of trivia nights in the area. Actually, I just came back from one in Barbersville. But I have one in Huntington proper, and I told them I'll bring a petition by at some point for if any of the regulars that live in town, if any of the regulars want to sign up for it, because it's like there is such the the sentiment against this is so strong. It's really quite staggering. And
so, and can it, about the sentiment, let me ask you about that. The feeling, there's a lot of feelings about these. Some of it's pretty visceral. Like I said, every woman in the country was like, oh, because anything that can track where you're going, the very first thing that creepy guys are going to do is track their ex-girlfriends or their new boyfriends or whatever. And I think that's a given. And I think that, already it's bad enough being out there in the world, but the flock stuff, they say, oh, well, look, you're out in public, you're driving around, anybody else could be taking pictures of your license plates too. We're not doing anything. There's no reasonable expectation of privacy. You signed up to drive the car. You got a plate number. The state is authorizing you to pilot your motor coach on their roadways or whatever. But it isn't that. It's more powerful than that.
Yeah.
Sentiment, I'm wondering, has anybody from the group or anybody who's trying to fight flock, not just in Huntington, but in general, thought about tracking some of these city council members through this system and show to them openly in one of these meetings, like, hey, I know exactly where you've been.
Well, they don't even want the meetings recorded. I was watching one of these videos on this, and they were screaming about a woman made a comment that was like, it's the irony of you not wanting us to take pictures here, where that's what you're trying to do around our municipality, which is kind of crazy.
There was actually a really funny moment in that one meeting where someone was there were a bunch of us that had our camera phones out, and we were waiting on the mayor to come out of his office toward the city council chamber, and he went through a back door.
Oh my God!
Right, because he didn't want to be recorded.
Of course, yeah. I mean, this is somebody who. When one of our more contentious meetings here, I think, in the last year and a half, literally vanished for like 3 hours. So it's
on the Appalachian Trail.
This is got it. I wish that kind of skeleton was involved in this, but
it's in Argentina. You didn't know about that? So. Okay, but like what are the, besides petitions, like, we've all seen the videos, people cutting these things down. What tactics have people in Huntington or in other places maybe that about resorted to? I'm not advocating for destruction of property.
Democracy, it sounds like small democracy is where they've started. They're signing petitions. It sounds like you're trying to advocate for some type
I'm not.
I don't know.
I'm advocating for gentle nuisance behavior.
I will say if you watch that video, and it's this clip is actually going kind of viral because he's a big dude. Rufus Jenkins, he's a musician around here. Spent a couple
Rufus
minutes.
Jenkins is clearly big, right? It's not a small version of
named
that.
He's a big dude. But it kind of went a little viral. Where he's on his spiel, and he's like, all right, I'm wrapping up. I just want to say that each of these was like 3 pounds of copper and 2 pounds of gold or something like that in them. And something like that. Quite a few people brought that up, that these things are full of precious metals. Beyond that, I know that and I don't know what the status is of this, but I know someone had suggested taking some of the disused signs from primary election season and painting them up and marking them and setting them up to mark where the cameras are going to be, and just saying this is where this camera is going to be. That was one thing actually that really kind of drew everybody's ire was, and props to Kyle Vass, who does investigative work for ACLU of West Virginia. He managed to get a hold of the email chain for this and a Google map of where they wanted to put the cameras. And it was near where the homeless congregate in Huntington. It was near every public school. It was every bar that wasn't on the main strip in town. And it was every exit, every way into the town, every way into Huntington would have a camera set up. And so it's like we actually have that information as far as where do they want to put cameras. So, but I don't know if they were. I don't know where that's. Someone had suggested that, and I don't know if they went anywhere with it.
You can go to deflock.org.
That information is out there.
Yeah, go to deflock.org. You can find they've got an interactive map. It'll show you where the cameras are currently and where they're pointing.
Yeah.
So you
like
can
I said,
use that information.
Yeah, like I said, Ashland, just up the road here, their city's signed a thing. I read a thing, and I believe Wood County, West Virginia, which is about an hour and a half north of us. If you know where Parkersburg is, up the Ohio River, they had signed a deal with them. I guess it was last year, and it's just now coming to light. So, or just now being publicized. So, it's like they've been creeping up, but I feel like this is the first time that this has been kind of the wait, you are doing what to our city? No, you don't kind of moment, and it's kind of like I said, it's woken people up, across the state.
So I'm looking at the deflock.org right now of Huntington, and I can see one of the Speedway gas things. I can see a few set up here around near a Walmart.
I think Walmart has some ALPRs too.
Yeah, they've got maybe different ones, but there's some near a Pizza Hut, in a few places near some place called Brayfield. And yeah, I don't know. That's maybe on the other side of the Ohio River there. But suffice it to say, they're in several places. You can see where they might want to put more of them. It's a problem. And like I said, I'm not advocating for destruction of property, but there is probably some sort of nuisance behaviors that people could engage in to sort of poke fun at and demonstrate the problem of these cameras. I've seen people who hold up mirrors in front of the cameras and just stand there holding a mirror. That's not destroying anything. You're on public property. You might be able to do it that way. There's certain kinds of light, certain wavelengths of light that if you happen to shine them towards one of these cameras, it can damage the sensor. Don't damage the sensors of the flock cameras by shining a green laser at them. That's bad. Don't do that. And if you don't do that, make sure it's also not greater than 1 milliwatt, because that would be really bad for that sensor. So don't do that because it would harm the cameras.
Now, one of the counselors that voted against this, Tia Rumbaugh, she had put forward she'd proposed some ordinances that would to regulate these. And I recall the biggest complaint that the city had regarding her ordinance was that the penalty for abusing the flock system was greater than the penalty for damaging the flock system.
Yeah. Also, flock's liability on people misusing them incorrectly, according to their own contracts that they sign with everybody, is $100. That's what people have agreed to. So if your municipality installs these and your sheriff's deputy decides to use them to track his ex-girlfriend, and she finds out about it and sues the city, and the city turns around and goes, "Hey, Flock, your system is being $100."
No.
And that was the biggest thing, actually. That was the biggest thing that came up from the counselors against this was the liability issue, because again, this is so rampant for abuse that it's so rampant for abuse, and it's already, again, it's very clearly a privacy violation. That city's going to get sued out the ass. And sure enough, within a few days, the ACLU West Virginia is representing somebody suing the city over this. So, all
right. So they're all over the place, and we can see them. There's some of them over here by a Kroger, where there's a Wendy's and a Taco Bell and some stuff in that parking lot. So, shopping centers is the primary place because you can't stop them from putting them on their own shopping centers.
Yeah,
So,
I think all the Krogers have them. So yeah, I think that's that particular one.
right,
I'm
so
starting to
shop
pull up
someplace else.
I'm starting to pull up. Yeah, I wish there was there's a couple smaller chains that used to have a few more stores in town, but I'm pulling up now here. Let's see. Yeah, we've got there's that's on the Ohio. I'm looking at the map right now. I see there's a few there on the Ohio side of the river. That's Lowe's. That's the Lowe's cameras. Again, that's a corporate contract there. Let's see. That is.
Can we say categorically don't go to Ohio? That's probably a great idea.
So a thing I always have saved is I'm of course, again, from up that a ways. I adopted Detroit City Football Club and their supporters group years ago, back when they were still an amateur team and they were playing all these teams from like Cleveland, Columbus, Toledo, and the supporters group printed up a scarf for that season that just said in giant words on one side, "Fuck Ohio." Yeah. Every time Ohio does some kind of misbehavior, I just bust that picture out. Now I will say one of these there is an update, and I should probably I believe it'll be an update. One of these cameras there is right around the corner from me. It was at a Speedway that was just sold and is in the process of being rebranded. So we might have one less ALPR in the city of Huntington. But let's see. There's
they're all over the place. So
there's one. Let's see. There's one here. It looks like is that at is that CVS? I'm trying to get my bearings as far as what is at that intersection that this one I'm looking at here is. It's like in the city there's a few scattered. Again, there's ALPRs, but they're not necessarily flock. They're not necessarily the flock system. But again, if you go over to Kentucky, it's like chicken pox. So
yeah, I can see. I'm looking at them all right here in near around Lexington, for example. There's just an absolute ton of them.
Yeah.
So yet another reason not to go to Kentucky. Also, just saying. I mean, there's don't say that.
Yeah, you're allowed to say that. No one has to follow what you're saying here. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Some people are allowed to like what they like.
But what they should follow is Lenny's petition drive and places. So we want to know, where can people get involved? How can they donate? If they even just want to join up and support, follow along, what's the way to do that?
So the campaign is going by GTFO Huntington. Get the flock out, Huntington. So search that up. I think let me double check. Let me double check the Instagram handle for it here. I think that is what it is GTFO Huntington. But yeah, if you just search that on social medias, it'll have more information on what we're on our campaigns and how to get involved.
There's an awful lot of these things that are just sort of along I-81, for example. They don't seem to be at a parking lot or some business or anything like that. They're just pointed at the highway. In Huntington, there's a bunch pointed at I-64. Is that a thing? Like, can they scan the highways?
Yeah, I mean, that was one thing I'd mentioned was that the map that had circulated around of where they want to put them is going to be at every single entry point into the city. That's all our freeway exits. That's both ends of Route 60. That's the bridges into Ohio. It's just staggering. Like someone was, I saw someone, like I talked with my brother because he lives in Fairmont, West Virginia. So it's about a half hour south of Morgantown, and he has to go to Morgantown because he works with the cell phone distributors up that a ways. And he was like, well, I've just had to figure out a way around them. You can't do that. I couldn't do that because I live in the city. There would literally be no way in or out of the city of Huntington without passing one of these. Like that was a very early thing, like a very early kind of knee-jerk response was a lot of people saying, well, if this happens, I'm not going to enter Huntington for anything. I'm not going to go downtown for anything. because I don't want to drive past these.
So kill the economy.
Kill the economy.
Exactly.
Crazy.
One thing America loves is green. All right,
Yeah.
so go to get the flock out.
So
Huntington.
the Instagram handle is GTFO Huntington WV, and then if you're looking on Facebook, you will. And I think it's. And let me make sure I've got the address right here. But it's you'll look for HCAG. That's Huntington Community Action Group is the group that's organizing this. But their page is now listed as HCAG. Get the flock out of Huntington.
There you go. Okay, go there and follow along. Be friends with the Facebook group and hang out with the cool folks in Huntington, West Virginia. They are fun people. I have to say. I know several people from West Virginia. No, they're great. I like them.
And I will say, if anyone's got canvassing experience, I'm sure they'd love to have an extra hand here or there. So
there you go. Okay, great. So go do that, Lenny. It is a school night. We know that you have several jobs, so we don't want to keep you too much longer. But we're gonna go do the third half of the show. If people want to stay around for that part, I don't know why they would. But
I'm on my porch and it's humid as crap out here. So
yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah,
we understand.
Fan.
All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna let Lenny go to bed. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps. Chip's choked up.
All right, man, this is it. Gotta be hard. No mercy. We're gonna like professionals, like Charles Bronson. We don't stop till the screaming starts, you dig?
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping out?
So just to let everybody know, in the district, there's a bunch of these things, and they don't seem to be at businesses. They seem to be pointed at the road. So up on Michigan Avenue, about up towards Catholic University, but not quite, sort of over by where Trinity is. There's one catching the traffic going each way by where Florida turns into U Street. Up there's a few at that intersection. There's a whole rack of them up on the other side where Florida and U Street are on the, sort of going westbound on Florida, like you're going back down towards, downtown. And I don't know what to call that exactly, but where 18th crosses. So Adams Morgan area. I think that's a problem.
I think though they sit in parking lots and they just face the street. So like I feel like they're sitting in, and that's something probably we should look into. Is let's just say there's a Safeway. Like it could be contracted through the Safeway, but like could these things still be sitting looking at the street? And then
they are,
yeah, right.
Yeah,
because
they're
see
all
them
pointed at streets. They're not pointed inward.
Yeah, like Bladensburg Road. I can think of these where I see them, like Bladensburg and like where 8th Street turns into Benning Road. I bet there are a bunch over there. Like I see these often.
Oh, well, down that way, there's some around. See, these don't look like they're in parking lots. They look like they're literally in intersections. Like they're sitting on traffic lights.
They could. I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
At 15th and Gale Street, over there just south of Benning Road. I mean,
riveting radio reading these off to people, I think,
Hey, look, it's public information.
It is. I think
they are out in public.
Give people the website and let them search themselves.
Deflock.org. Go take a look. Not only will it tell you where they are, but it'll also tell you what they're pointing at and where their field of view is. So you can use that to either avoid them, maybe, so that you don't get, snapped your photo. But also if you wanted to approach the camera, from which side might you be safest to do that? Because you just want to check these things out and they're cool and they're full of precious metals and copper and stuff, whatever. All right, let's do the rundown. This is where we tell you about some stuff that's gone on in the news. If we were real radio people, it would sound something sort of like this.
From Beltway Radio and beyond in Washington, D.C., I'm Emmy-nominated TV newsman and just bona fide sexual beast, J. Scott Smith. And this is the part of the show where I tell some stuff about maybe not me, but somebody else is going to tell some stuff about what's happening in the news. So what's going on in the news, fellas?
All right, thanks, Jay. Go check him out. Channel 4 in Detroit.
Great reporting. I've been watching a lot of his clips.
There you go. He's a dynamite reporter.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Virginia, the real one, not the West one. So Virginia has a problem, has lots of problems. One of the problems in Virginia is that unlike all of the other states, nearly all of the other states, you don't get your voting rights back if you've committed a crime, even after you've served your time, unless the governor themselves gives them back to you. Now, lots of states, you lose your right to vote, while you're serving, whether it's probation or in jail or whatever. But also sometimes some of them have like for a period afterwards, but there's an automatic restoration process, or in some cases, there's a process where you have to apply for your voting rights back, but it's mostly automated and very rarely is it down to one person.
Right.
But in Virginia, it's down to one person. So as you probably recall, we here in the Commonwealth tried to change our state constitution, Commonwealth Constitution, to allow for redistricting in this year to try to combat the gerrymandering of the Republicans that have done things like put Memphis in a district with a bunch of farms in East Tennessee. I don't even know how that works. It's a 250-mile long district in Tennessee. It's the whole state.
What are we doing?
Yeah, drawing black people out of voting.
Yeah.
So,
all right, that's exactly.
So we were like, all right, well, we can fix that, right? We can split Northern Virginia and Fairfax and stuff, and distribute the million Democratic voters in Fairfax over the rest of the state, and effectively eliminate all districts that could vote Republican. And it's mathematically possible. Watch us do it, right? But it got beat in court due to some technicalities on a bunch of stuff. So what's the next best thing? More voters, and specifically people who have been railroaded by the state. And those people are overwhelmingly going to be Democrats, I think.
Yeah. So, not all, but
not all, but they're going to be a lot of them.
Yeah.
And Virginia, like many states in the South, like all the states in the whole country, locks up a lot of black folks. As a matter of fact, the majority of the population in prison is not white. And so, and how do you think they're going to vote?
Since, the 13th Amendment.
What? It's not a real amendment. I don't need to follow that one anymore.
No.
3/5 of the time, it's not even on paper. So, anyway, Governor Spanberger restored the voting rights of 66,000 people in Virginia, basically with the stroke of a pen. Way to go, Abby.
Huge.
Big fan. Now, you may be thinking, wait, didn't I hear this story before? You did a little bit, actually, because back when Terry McAuliffe was governor, he tried to restore all the voting rights of all of the people who had ever been convicted and finished their sentences. And that got beat in court, and basically had to go through in like groups and restore at a time because of the way the state constitution is written. So he did embark on that. That was followed up by Ralph Northam, who continued doing that. And then actually Bob McDonald did this, a Republican. He was into restoring voting rights for a lot of folks. So you had McDonald, then you had McAuliffe, then you had Northam. They were all busy restoring voting rights. And then Glenn Youngkin came. And Glenn Youngkin was like, what? Voting? Hell no. We're not having that. So he stopped all that dead in its tracks. He restored the voting rights to like 25 people in his entire term.
Good politics, to be honest, because you should, in a sense, it's a moral thing to do, right? But if you just want to look at this point, I'm looking at everything very cynically. And like, if you want to look at things cynical, you could go ahead and do that and almost ensure that those voters, to your point, will, again, for the most part, continuously vote, because they'll look at you as, oh,
exactly,
these are the individual, this party even, right, is the one, like, right, if a Republican even did it, hey, this party is the one who actually did this.
These guys gave me my right to vote back, therefore I support them. Yes, it's an obvious,
at least to begin
move.
with. At least to begin with, it's just natural.
It should get you a cycle or two. And right. That's where I was going with this. From a purely political perspective, policy be damned.
Right.
This isn't. Just get them to vote your way, man. All right, so way to go, Abby. Let's hope that matters. Let's get over to Kentucky, which we unfortunately share a border with. So Kentucky's got a lot of problems. Okay.
A lot.
They've got a dead senator.
Stop. He's alive.
No, he's not. Prove it.
He's alive. He's alive. He's been discharged.
Yeah. Into hell, I guess. What? Discharged. I don't believe that. I don't believe anything that Turtle says. No, okay, so Kentucky's got a lot of problems. Their economy sucks. They basically can't get out of where, well, economically they can't like separate themselves from coal. They're in the middle of a black lung epidemic that is somehow increasing. They have no hope, and their population is shrinking drastically. They're in a bad spot. So you would think that the elected officials of Kentucky,
laser focused.
Huh?
I said laser focused. They should have
laser focused. You'd think one of the things that old Mitch McConnell has always been great at,
is
bringing home the bacon. Your job as a congressman or a senator is to go get federal money for your district and for your state. And your
Didn't he
main
stand
job,
with Biden for an infrastructure project? Is that am I misremembering that? No, he did, right?
No, you're definitely remembering that correctly. So you would imagine, like, think about for a second if there was a congressman from Kentucky who spent his time in the Capitol trying to dictate how the budget of, I don't know, New Mexico was put together. People in Kentucky would be like, yo, pay attention, guy. We sent you there to focus on our stuff, not on what they're doing. We don't care about what they're doing. Focus on helping us.
Seems reasonable.
Seems reasonable, right? Enter one James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee and a bunch of other dumb shit.
You know, the committee to fuck with the district.
He has a bill literally to fuck with the district. It would, if it was passed, which it has not gotten through the Senate, obviously, or I don't think it even got a full House vote. It would allow Congress, or not even allow, require Congress to approve and validate the budget of the District of Columbia. Now, if you are old enough to remember prior to 1973 and before Home Rule, that's how it was. And so,
commission.
Yeah. And the district could be like, hey, we need to raise parking meters on, this rate by a nickel. And some congressman from North Dakota could be like, nah, you're not doing that. And to some extent, that still kind of exists, right?
Yes.
The Senate can stop the district dead in its tracks on nearly anything because despite there being 700,000 American citizens in the District of Columbia, they cannot regulate their own budget. Now, post-1973, as Home Rule sort of expanded, one of the things Congress learned is they could save themselves a lot of effort and not do this and not be involved in the local politics of running the city that they occasionally visit when they pretend to work. So they were just like, go ahead, district. If you do anything too wild, we'll come in and do stuff. But otherwise, you're good to go. And then like in the 90s, Republicans basically were like, oh, we can let the city kind of run itself and we can use it as a sandbox for our own special projects like charter schools and all kinds of other dumb shit that the people in the district don't want.
Nick, I mean, they've been doing this for years. Nixon did it. This is nothing new.
Right, but this is a little bit more extreme, and it is also way taking your focus off what you're supposed to be focused on. I don't think there's anybody in Kentucky who sent James Comer to Washington and said, your job is to clean up that city full of 700,000 people who are not your constituents. It's not like he was like on his way. He was getting on the train to come to Washington, right? Because they're still riding trains. And he's like, I'm going to go get you all of the federal representation that you deserve. I'm going to make sure we get extra money directed towards funding schools and the firefighters and all this stuff. And some voice in the crowd goes, no, James. I don't want money for firefighters back home. I want you to go there and tell those people in that city that I'm never going to go to when they can pave their roads. And James Comer was like, you know what? You're right.
Aha.
You're right. Yeah. Epiphany. Can't say epiphany. Nobody in Kentucky understands that word. He goes, I'm not going to go and get you your federal money. No, you're right. I'm going to go fuck with the people of the District of Columbia because that's what my constituents want. It's very stupid. He got asked about this in the committee. I'm trying to find where this conversation goes, but one of the other Congress people asked him, like, did your constituents send you here to go do this? And he's like, I care about the District of Columbia. And she's like, that's not what I'm asking you. I think she was from New Mexico. She goes, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, did your constituents send you here to go police the District of Columbia. It's a crazy thing. It's racist on its face. It's clearly a reaction to Janice Lewis George winning the primary and Comer and his ilk figuring that they no longer had somebody that they could play ball with. I don't know that they don't have somebody they can play ball with. That's
I don't think. That's the thing. I don't necessarily agree with that, or if they think that way, I don't agree with it. I mean, it's clear that when they threatened to do this in the past, or coming out of the 90s, right? There was around the budget specifically, they put the heavy fist down. I mean, in the past, there was a reason given, and illegitimate as we might think it is. They was more. It was more legitimate than right now. It feels like it's one of those I don't want to say a wedge issue or anything. It almost feels like this larger thing about Democratic mayors. And to your point, this is the one place that you can really kind of get away with this. I mean, if we're being honest, and I think people should prepare, whether it's this bill, and I think you might look into I don't know. It depends on how it depends. I mean, there's no way the way that Trump has kind of pissed people off in the Senate, does anybody give him a win if this even progresses anywhere? I don't see this getting passed anywhere. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in the first term, if they really let's say Muriel went a different route, I could see them possibly getting something like this passed in the first term. But in a lame duck session that they're most likely approaching, right? I mean, I don't see this getting passed.
Well, so here's some minutia for local things, and I'm going to ask you your opinion as a DC voter. But in a letter to Comer, Council Chair Phil Mendelson pointed out that Congress already has the power to veto changes in the tax code,
right?
Under the Home Rule Act.
I mean, the weed shit they did that with, right? Yeah,
they did briefly, and then they the city sort of
they
renegotiated some of it, and
they're not caring as much, and they're probably smoking it themselves, so they're whatever,
Yeah, and in some cases, it's really about daring Congress. Do you really want to waste your time on doing this? And the answer is apparently yes. It's also
Mendelson seemed upset because he was like, "Why? We've been discussing. How come this hasn't come up?" That's what I remember reading.
Yeah. The story here is really that the council felt like they had a good relationship with Comer in particular, and that they had worked with him on several other issues. And they're like,
RFK
"Why are
deal,
you
right? He's RFK deal, right? He helps with that."
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
He worked on the RFK deal and helping shepherd through the federal aspect of that and ceding the land back to the district. He was quite supportive of that. He seemed to be supportive of the development and helping around MCI Center and all of those things. So it did seem strange. And in the 90s, one of the big things there was Republican opposition to or setting out to prove that Black governance was a failure.
Yeah, because it had reigned too long at that point. We're looking from the end of this, the early 70s up until the 90s. We're almost at a 25, almost going on 30 years of Black.
Well, and at that time, city government was Blacker. And the council was all Black, Barry was mayor. And so it was a thing where it looked like they were like, we're out to prove that Black governance is a failure. Now you're looking at a council that's not overwhelmingly Black. You're looking at a city that's not even majority Black anymore. It doesn't seem like I don't even understand what are they on about?
It's still Black enough, I think.
It's Black enough. You think that's the thing?
It. I think it's even just still. And if you think about, we joke about the age of a lot of these people in Congress. Think about what they remember. I think what they think DC is. Still, they're not out walking around. When's the last time they looked? Do they know every person who's on the council? And no, Sharon Pratt Kelly is still running.
my question to you, you're a DC voter. You know,
Yes.
do you feel like, one, do you feel like you really have the autonomy that you need, to make decisions?
No, I pay federal taxes and I don't have a fucking senator.
Yeah, well, that's a different thing. Not the taxation without representation. I'm talking about the local level here.
Oh,
have you ever thought like this local government is so unresponsive to my needs that I wish I could call their mommy or their daddy and get them, to respond? Like, is there a disconnect between city government and the constituency?
No, I mean, there's obviously areas where this shit could be improved, right? I think obviously rats are one thing that people complain about, and 311 and the access to that, like, and that system being easier for everyone. I don't find it to be too crazy. I usually get things service for me. But yeah, I mean, there's areas where it can improve, but not to the point where it's like this city has a huge budget, right? We have events that obviously the federal government helps in certain areas, in a lot of areas, but like we put on huge events every year, right? We bring in millions of people from around the world here, and this like government, this city government has done that for a long time. They've done it successfully, right? And again,
supported the federal stuff too, right? They've got all, the feds do all kinds of
save democracy, the police force. Like, I mean,
that happened.
MPD saved democracy, for being, I mean, along with the Capitol Police.
They did.
I mean, they saved democracy. So, but I don't think, not to the point where, and I think I could see areas in the early 90s where probably people were that frightened about again, crime in the city that I would argue was created by the federal government in a way, like for being completely honest, right? But I think there could be times there where someone might say, oh, all right, like we need assistance in this, like, right? And you have a homicide rate to that, like that might be the one time where you could say, all right,
if there's some
currently no
from the citizens of the district for like Congress's help here.
It's a free, like, can you go anywhere without seeing free DC anywhere? Like, it's literally the opposite. Look at it there. Like, yeah, I mean, if you look at the, I just tossed my mail-in ballot because I ended up using it, but if you look at the mail-in ballot, I mean, the ballot this year, the free DC slate is huge, and that only happens, it's not like, it's, people be chilling for most part, but when, like, you wake up and you see like ICE agents running around and again, I wish that the rest of the country could, there needs to be some type, I wish people like a Comer, like the same way Comer has this like detailed focus right now on trying to rip away our autonomy. I wish there was someone, not there are, but I wish there were more folks in the Congress and in the Senate that did this around, again, almost 1 million people who are disenfranchised, right? I think that was where, because no other place would stand for this. Like,
no. And when he got questioned about it, they said, why are you doing this? And he goes, well, the district has this, that, and the other. And they go, would you tell this state how they can do their budget? Or would you tell this state? And his answer was, DC's not a state.
And that's what can we say back?
But that isn't an answer. That's not a reason that you're doing it. If you're doing it simply because you can, that's saying something about what your real motivation is. Okay, right. DC's not a state, so we can do things to the district that we can't do to other. It's almost like an abuse cycle, right? Because you're like, oh,
it is.
This thing is powerless to resist me, so therefore I will have my way with it in any way I want. And if it complains, I'll remind it that it is powerless. That is it. That is Comer being Epstein. I don't know how much more clearly that can be evident, but like, I don't personally have like a analog here because I don't like take advantage of things that are powerless, but it. Remember when here's the only thing I can relate it to, and it's like sports, of course, because that's the only like way I can envision the world. Several World Cups ago, the U.S. women's team was playing against Thailand, and they ended up winning this game like 14-1. And they score a goal, and then they celebrated a little bit, and then they scored another goal, and they celebrated a little less, and then they scored a third goal, and they sort of celebrated a little. By like the fourth or fifth goal, they're like, we don't feel good about doing this. What are we doing here?
Right.
The Thais are powerless to stop us. All we're doing is just beating them relentlessly, and they can't put up a fight. Now, they did ask later, like, are you okay? And Thailand was like, no, we appreciate that you didn't take it easy on us because, then that would have been even more disrespectful. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, this thing can't fight back. So I'm just beating it. Like, why are you doing that? What is the value there?
I mean, be careful again, because there's a bunch of residents here. And you could like something coordinated against and not what you were saying to do to the flock stuff, allegedly, but yeah, something coordinated in the city around where these congressmen are at, and again, people not either showing up for jobs or there's a way you could send a message.
What if NPD all of a sudden decided that they needed to support DDOT's road work all around Capitol Hill, and it necessitated road closures?
Yeah.
And it necessitated lack of access. Or if DC Water suddenly had a problem with the valves on Capitol Hill and they required a dig up, and can't argue with the water company. Where are you going to get your water from? That kind of stuff happens. Hey, infrastructure is tough to maintain, especially when you don't have control of your own budget. So,
yeah.
It could happen. I don't know. I don't know exactly where Comer lives, but maybe that, his streets might not be up to par. Maybe we got to dig them up. Don't know. Could happen. Janice, if you're listening.
No, I think hopefully we're past this and the Congress eventually changes sometime in March next year.
Stop fucking with these people.
Yeah,
it's just pointless. Yeah. It's abusive and it's pointless, and it shows us exactly who you are. Leave us the fuck alone.
I said, but don't be surprised if they try to again aggressively push something through on this, or I don't know, they just create executive orders out of thin air. I'd be interested to see what this administration does in the last 4 months.
Oh, in their final gasps.
Yeah.
Well,
they're going to try something. They're
going to try to end the election. Okay. Speaking of elections, let's go take a look at these primaries real quickly. Up in Michigan, right? Dr. El Sayed, Abdullah El Sayed won his primary against what's her name? Haley Stevens. That's her name?
Is that it? Yeah.
This got down to a real battle between what is being called the progressive wing of the party and the establishment wing of the party. Truth be told, there isn't a tremendous amount of policy difference between the two candidates there, except in terms of sending money to Israel. I think that was the only real point of contention there.
God, that's a whole different show around.
Well, it is, but let's think about the electorate in Michigan, and let's think about who lives.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of my people in Michigan, but there's a lot more people who aren't my people in Michigan. And I can't see that being, I can't see Jewish Democrats saying, oh, I would vote for a Democrat in all of these other instances against Trump for all of these reasons, freedom, voting access, ending pointless wars, making sure that the Head Start still exists, all of these kind of things. But you know what? I also want to make sure we can continue supporting the Israeli genocide against the Palestinian people. So I'm not going to go vote that time. I don't think, I could be wrong.
I mean, I don't want to use him for everything, but I was in New York for Mondami when that happened. I was there, and like I did not expect that at all. Like I was loosely following them. I'm not from there, and then when that happened, I was like, well, wait, how did he do that in New York? I was like, that means a lot of Jewish people had to vote for him, like a decent amount, like a lot. And I think to your point, yeah, and that if it could happen there in New York at this larger scale, right, at a Senate race, yeah, and what's at stake.
That's the thing is, and Stevens kind of said that in endorsing El Sayed when this was all over, is she's like, there's too much at stake. We've got to stop Trump. We've got to stop Rogers. This whatever differences you might have had with my opponent, rest assured, I don't have those differences. We are united. We need to do this. This is the most important thing. And yeah, the stakes are high. This is a moment where we cannot let perfect be the enemy of the good in either direction. And that's true for the like progressive, idealists.
Yeah.
You guys got to get over yourselves. Like if what you really wanted was somebody who's going to establish universal basic income and Medicare for all and abolish ICE and all that stuff, and you get somebody who wants to increase funding for preschools and end the war in Iran, fucking take your win. Take your win, goddammit. Take it. And to all these so-called moderate Democrats in Michigan, take your win. You got somebody. You got somebody who's a good politician, who's good at rallying support with very minimal fundraising, and who wants to listen to constituents. Take your win and shut up and go vote for him.
The amount of messaging I get from him, which is crazy, right? I'm not a friggin'
You're not a Michigander.
Yeah, right. And their campaign, and again, and this is just me. Now, I've not been following this deeply at all, but I get enough. Like, it is a decent amount of campaign material from that campaign, and it's clear to see like how they were able to kind of edge out a victory here. So
yeah, and they know what they're doing. And if you're a Michigan voter and you're listening to this, find your thing to find that you like about him. He helped put glasses on the face of children who didn't have. He worked on an assembly plant for Chrysler. There's so many things. UAW's endorsed him. Imagine losing Michigan with a UAW endorsement.
The plot has been lost at that point. Not just Michigan. The whole plot is lost, right? We've
backwards as it gets.
We've lost the full plot at that point.
May as well root for Ohio. All right. Other things that happened in these primaries, left-wing candidates winning in a few other Michigan House primaries. I think the biggest one is William Lawrence winning and defeating the named successor in Mazdam.
Oh, this is the person who had to drop out? Is that it?
No. Nobody had to drop out, but Mazdam, who was a retired Navy SEAL, and he was whoever it is whose seat this used to be endorsed him, and he got creamed. Oh. So the House is not a foregone conclusion. It's got to happen. You gotta find your wins. Here's one in Washington on the West Coast, Washington's most competitive congressional district. This is the part of why I put this story in here. Get ready for this, right? This isn't about the win. This is about the people and the names. You ready? They had a 9-way primary. 9-way primary. It featured progressive versus moderate showdown among Democrats. Washington uses an open primary system, meaning the top 2 vote getters go through regardless of party. So the Republican John Braun, he got through, and then there she is, and she's current Congresswoman. What a name, Gluesenkamp Perez, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez. I don't know how that fits on a ballot. Yeah, I just go vote for her, but I just love saying that name, so that's why we put that story in here. And then we've got voter ballot measures. Okay, two of them that are of serious note. You've got Kansas rejecting an effort to have the Supreme Court be elected as opposed to appointed. And they have an interesting way that they appoint their Supreme Court, that if this had gone through, basically Republicans who have this major majority in the state would be able to turn the Kansas Supreme Court extremely conservative. Kansas people think of as red. They've got a Democratic governor currently. They've had several. Remember that half of Kansas City is in Kansas. So there's some power there. But that would have been bad. And then I think a big one that I saw was what happened in Missouri. So Missouri is gerrymandered to shit, and they've got it's a majority Republican legislature by a lot, even if the state isn't that much of a majority Republican state. They have 8 congressional districts, so it's not a small place. And currently, if you got a ballot measure on the ballot or an amendment to the state constitution and it passes with a majority at the ballot box, it passes.
It's just law,
which is how majorities rule. What the Republicans in the state legislature wanted to do was they wanted to say you had to win with a majority in each congressional district, which meant effectively, it means effectively that one majority white district could stop
every time.
Yes, from anybody. And what was really, this got struck down or beaten, right? It didn't pass. But what was really striking to me was when the reporters were asking the state representatives why they wanted this, what they said was, well, Missouri voters are too stupid to make these decisions. They should have elected members be deciding how the state constitution gets amended. And that was before the election. If there's a way, if you want to win an election,
yeah,
just a helpful tip, don't call your voters stupid. Really, what are you doing here, guy?
Well, these people think they're post-democracy when you say shit like that. Like, that's where that's what that tells me. It's like, oh, well, no, why? It doesn't matter. Like,
yeah, those people shouldn't be making decisions. I should be making decisions because I know, and they're black.
And I think when you piss people off, as we talked to Lenny earlier, I think even what's happening there, I think that's the Tocqueville, like, truest level of democracy. Like, with that right there of them coming out as a community and going against those goddamn flock. What is it? The flocks. That is it there. And I mean, in this case here, you tell the voters that they're stupid and they shouldn't be voting. I think that's the one way to rile them up, to be like, oh, all right, you know what? We'll show you actually.
Yeah, I'll show you who's stupid. You think I can't make my own decisions, huh? You know,
I know who to get off I know who to not vote for and get you out.
Right. It's a shockingly bad political move. I can't understand how these guys have no instinct, you know? Like, how do they get in office? They got no instinct. All right, let's talk about what are we talking about? Oh, attacking preschools. So Head Start. I don't know what people know about Head Start, but here's the basic idea. It started under Lyndon Johnson, and the idea here is that a bunch of very smart people took a look around and said one of the biggest problems for people getting out of poverty is the massive advantage that rich kids have over poor kids. And it's not just about like school. Okay. Right. They looked around and they were like, oh, holistically, there's this problem. Rich kids have better food. Rich kids have better hygiene. Rich kids have better health care. Rich kids have a more consistent schedule. Rich kids, so many pieces. And they assemble a program called Head Start to give the poor kids, and this is also, to be very clear, rural poor kids, poor kids.
Right, exactly.
A chance to catch up to their well-heeled peers by wrapping them around in all of these services, a place where they're going to get fed, a place where they're going to be cared for, a place not just where they're going to be cared for like warehouse, but they're going to be cared for with high quality, good ratios of teachers to students, with vetted, evidence-based curriculums that are constantly being tweaked and evolving and getting better and better and better. And they create this program called Head Start in the 60s. And this is one of the most wildly successful government programs in the history of the United States. It is beloved by all. It gets there. There was even a time I can remember back in Obama's first term where there was somebody voted or somebody raised an idea to cut Head Start, and the Congress ended up voting to increase the amount of money to Head Start, and that passed with overwhelming majorities. This is
like, as we're thinking about this, we might need to give it more money. Actually, when's the last time? Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. They're like, you know what, Head Start really hasn't had a boost. We need to give it more money. Head Start serves more than 500,000 low-income babies, toddlers, and preschoolers nationwide. For families that qualify, it offers free preschool and screenings for developmental delays. It also offers support to the families, right?
So back to the wraparound services. Yeah,
exactly. The changes that Trump is proposing for Head Start, not Trump, but Project 2025 is proposing to Head Start, would deliver a win to conservatives who have sought wholesale elimination of it, because, of course, they don't want poor people to have an opportunity. The Trump administration would also further its efforts to eliminate regulations it views as onerous and unnecessary. So one of the things that they're trying to do is, like, Head Start has a requirement that kids brush their teeth once a day. They're like, that's too much. We shouldn't be telling kids whether they need to brush their teeth or not. What? You're opposed to that?
And no, I think you are opposed to, because what's the real goal here, to your point, right? They don't want to support poor people because, right, if you give these poor people a chance, they'll grow up and then they'll eventually become voters. And we want to have less voters in this country and specifically less educated voters in this country, right?
Well, because and less workers being able to fend for themselves and all of this kind of stuff. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure like tooth decay and like voting Republican go hand in hand.
Yep. Usually.
Sorry, that's wrong.
No, that's funny. That's good. So the Head Start rulebook currently is pretty thick. It's like 150 pages. It's got all kinds of rules. It explains what the foods they get served have to be, the support for the families. If they can't get their kids to the Head Start school, that it provides for transportation. It explains all the ways that you have to have car seats for the kids if you're transporting them around. It's detailed. What Trump is proposing is cutting that rule book down to 12 pages. Now, I own several children. Imagine if you were going to give your kid over to somebody to keep an eye on for a little while, and if you didn't have the utmost confidence that this person already was qualified to manage children by dint of the fact that they had a bunch of certificates, that they'd, been in the field for a long time, that they are your mother, some other way that you can be sure that
another way you vetted them,
you would give them a list of instructions. This is what they like to eat. This is what they have. But you would also include all of the, like, if you're not sure this person knows what they're doing, you'd have to include a lot of basic stuff. Please put them in a car seat if you're going to take them anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Make sure they brush their teeth. Please change their diaper frequently enough. All of these kinds of things that, as a parent, you're running that rule book.
Right.
All the time. And it's not 12 pages. It's
12,000.
It's 12,000 pages. It's every single thing that you could think of. You're like, oh yeah, that could happen. Oh, that could happen. Oh, that could happen. Oh, my kids recently, they got on to watching classic episodes of Sesame Street, which I love.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's actually very funny. And this is back when Jim Henson and Frank Oz are really doing a lot of the Muppets and stuff. But in the video segments where they're showing kids like playing and stuff, looking at the playgrounds, there was one where they were bouncing on a trampoline. And I'm looking at this and going, God damn, I can't believe we survived to this age. Like this, none of this stuff looks safe. None of it at all. You as a parent, you're running that calculation all the time. Does this world look safe? It does not. And so you would necessitate giving a detailed playbook to whoever is taking care of your kids. Now multiply that by 500,000 kids and think that you come up with 12 pages worth of, let them do whatever the fuck they want. Feed them goldfish and nothing else. Who cares? They're going to be fine. They're going to be poor anyway. We don't give a shit. Don't make them brush their teeth.
Gold.
Right. Make them buy Bitcoin. I mean, what? Come on. Why are you attacking Head Start? You want to lose? You got a midterm coming up, and you're going to put Congress in a position where Republicans have to vote to kill Head Start, a program that overwhelmingly benefits their voters.
Yeah, hands down. Hands down. Like it's really, again, they don't want to win.
They don't want to win. All right, let's go to Tokyo. Brian. Brian included this. There was an interesting statistic in this story, which caused me to have to do learning.
I saw it immediately.
Okay, now wait a minute. Without saying, I'm not going to say what piece of information in this story forced me to learn something.
Is you probably read about her breast size.
Yes, but specifically what did it say that made me have to go figure something out?
She is a size L.
No, that's not the word that made me have to go learn something.
Oh, okay. Well, what was it then? I'm sorry.
It says the 22-year-old known for her 110 centimeter.
Yes, 110 centimeter. Yes.
I was like, what the fuck is 110? Is that a lot? Is that?
Hey, gotta measure in centimeter. Oh yeah, I forgot you're not into the international system.
I don't know what a centimeter is. So then here's the picture. Go ahead, put it back up, Brian.
Yes.
You know, forgive me for my American exceptionalism, but one, I don't give a fuck what centimeters are, and two, I mean they're okay, but they're not that impressive compared to the rest of what America has to offer. So I just don't feel like this is not a story, Brian.
I respectfully agree here.
But if you read further along.
Oh, there's an actual story here? Oh,
there's an actual story. Okay.
Brian
so apparently
teach me the metric system. I was like, fuck that noise. Yes. All right. What's up? What's the story, Brian?
All right. So back to her picture again. Yu Tano, she is back in Japan. She's an adult actress. Okay. And so apparently, as we all know, in the last couple of weeks, Japan and pretty much most of South Asia suffered a lot of the earthquakes, and Japan in particular was hit by 2 of them.
Yeah, so 7.1. I mean, these are not small. These are
these are not small.
The earth is angry.
Yeah. So she
the earthquakes were a U-Tano sized earthquake.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she
110 centimeter sized earthquake. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. L cup earthquake.
Okay, so apparently she posted on her Twitter page and mentioned, or yes, I'm saying Twitter because probably Japan doesn't say X.
Yeah.
And she posted out stating the fact that she donated 300 million yen.
3 million yen, it says.
Yeah, 300 million.
What is that in real money?
Let me do my calculations.
No, I'm gonna check it while you tell the story. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, so she was able to donate and to help with the relief effort.
Okay.
Some dumbass, troll fuck, pretty much commented on the fact that, hey, we don't want your dirty money. And she clapped back by stating the fact, let me read the comment here, by stating that there is no reason for us to be denied support just because of our profession. A donation is a donation. I believe that the most important thing is that it reaches those who need it. So yeah, if you are too poor just to say, hey, it's dirty money, hey, but at least she's trying to do some relief effort to help out her country. So
all right,
so how much is she donated?
Yeah, nearly $19,000. It's $18,939. So
Something.
$19,000. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, not for nothing, as a slice of your income, for a normal human being, I don't care what kind of job they have, that's probably a fairly significant amount. I mean, unless you're a billionaire.
That's usually for minimum wage people, that's pretty much their entire salary for the year.
Yeah.
If you
That's
look at
an
that.
entire minimum wage salary in the United States.
Yeah.
That is true.
So
How dare they deny a cupquake effort?
It's not God.
If the earthquake shook some money out of her, why not?
Why not?
I'm sure a lot of the people who objected had watched her quake at least a few times.
Quakes and quiver.
Christ. Play the music. That is crazy. Oh my God. Oh God.
Okay, well, good. And then there was another piece to this story at the end that was took a really dark turn. I don't know if you want to go that far.
You could continue with that.
Apparently everybody had been shaming her. They were attacking her for her body shape or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's getting bullied and stuff, and she's like, hey, that's how people develop anorexia. And,
yeah,
and,
she said she went and mentioned that. But Japan is very weird with how they, because
I was gonna say they're famously very tolerant of people's body types.
Yeah, they
and robots,
and especially online, they a lot of they really hide those who like you said, these trollers hide so well behind online to shame and try to defame a lot of these as we know they call idols, but just pretty much in various industries, from wrestling, a lot of female wrestlers to the adult entertainers, singers and stuff like that. And sadly enough, these entertainers, especially women entertainers, they take it so personal and it gets to the point where they commit suicide or do harmful things to themselves.
If you live your life on the internet, and I don't know this person's, but I feel like if you've grown up living your life on the internet and that is kind of your social realm, easy for me to be just turn the shit off and it can't bother you anymore.
Yeah,
but easy for me to say.
But easy for you to say. Yeah, but
I don't think that's the option.
Yeah,
but it's her job.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So with Japan, with a lot of Japanese entertainers in general, it's part of their, I would say their livelihood, how they, put themselves out there in addition to whatever their profession is, and they read those comments. It's their fan mails and all that stuff.
But never read the comments. That's the thing,
it's easier said than done. Especially
you want to watch me do it. Watch how I don't read the comments on this show. It's helped that we don't get any, but I've gotten hateful messages on Facebook or whatever, and I tend to have a chuckle at it and be like, oh, this person's having a tough time, and then I just either block them or move on. I just don't fucking care. But this lady here, Tano, she's also recently in June, she saved somebody's life by doing CPR on him in a restaurant when they had a cardiac arrest, and she jumped into action and performed CPR. So she's a hero.
Yeah,
sounds like it.
Some people see it, some people see it one way, some people see something else, and it's kind of unfortunate. So
those people are dicks,
right?
They should never mind. Okay. We're at the end of the show. We're going to be early. We're going to be on time tonight.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I
wrote a half show with that intention. All right, Brian.
Thank you.
That's it. We're here. Appreciate it. All right. Thanks, Lenny, for educating.
Yes, thank you, Lenny.
Go help him out. Go help the organization. CFO, Huntington, West Virginia. Google that. and go donate and sign the petition if you are a Huntington voter. That would be great. Thanks to our radio partners, Jake Tapper, Max Miller, and Popcorn. Go watch the interview. It's 25 minutes. You'll enjoy yourself, I think, more than Max did. Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week. Haven't checked, don't know. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway and Rip Radio for making us sound as smooth as Max Miller on TV. All right, where can everybody get you on the socials, Tez?
You can find me on Blue Sky at DC Cortez.
There you go. You can find me and the show on the Twitter at Rip Chip Chat and Chip Chat RR, sorry. And then you can find me on Facebook or find us on Facebook or Instagram at Rip Chip Chat. And you can find me on the Blue Sky at Chef Chip. I'm going to be at the ball game on Saturday. So I don't know if you're going to find me there, but if you do, come up and say hi. I will pretend not to know you. Not you, Tez. You can come and say hi. I do know you. I'm talking about our legions of fans, who coming to watch the Nats speak on the Reds. Yeah. No, I want to see Ellie. It's going to be a fun day.
Yeah.
Kids get to see a great before he moves on. Okay. That's it.
CJ Abrams is playing.
Huh?
I said CJ Abrams is playing.
Yeah.
It's great.
We just traded away all of our players, so I guess
that was rough. We did too. Foster Griffin's gone. Luis Garcia's gone.
Garcia, the Garcia trade, I feel like that was maybe short-sighted.
I think it's
detrimental to the fan base because everybody likes him.
Yes, but you still got
But they got value. No, I get it. I get it.
Value that they just got from that, like 4 pitches.
I get it.
That's
but everybody loves him.
Yeah, I did. It was tough, and we just developed players so well.
You're like the Everton of baseball.
We are the Everton of baseball.
We got a new MIDI from your guys. Thank you. Appreciate that. He's an old man. He's like 41.
Something like that, yeah.
Really not helpful. Did not need that. Okay. All right, that's it. That's the show. You've been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
11:45.
Sweeps.
I hope you enjoy what we promote to use. I don't watch. I hope you enjoy what we promote. Chip Chat Radio.